Prabhuji, we are ready, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dhanavad Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of Grace Karunamurti Prabhu, who will be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, canto number 6, chapter number 2, sloka number 20 and 21. Prabhuji, over to you.
22, 23, na Prabhuji?
Sorry, 22, 23, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Om Namo
Hare Krishna,
Bhagavate
Prabhu.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, entitled Ajamila, delivered by the Vishnu Dutas, text 22 and 23. Text 22 we will recite. Dvijah Pashad Vinirmukto Gatabi Prakritim Gataha Bhavande Shirasa Vishnur Kinkaran Darshanotsabaha. I'll read the translation and purport. Translation: having been released from the nooses of Yamaraja's servants, the Brahmana Ajamila, now free from fear, came to his senses and immediately offered obeisances to the Vishnudutas by bowing his head at their lotus feet. He was extremely pleased by their presence, for he had seen them save his life from the hands of the servants of Yamaraj. The report by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Vaishnavas are also Vishnu Dutas because they carry out the orders of Krishna. Lord Krishna is very eager for all the conditioned souls rotting in this material world to surrender to him and to be saved from the material pangs in his life and punishment in hellish conditions after death. A Vaishnava therefore tries to bring conditioned souls to their senses. Those who are fortunate like Ajamila are saved by the Vishnu Dutas or Vaishnavas, and thus they return back home, back to Godhead. The next verse when we are reading, we'll recite. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, Text 22 and 23. So this is a crucial junction where Ajamila's the whole life is. There was a one turning point initially when he went to the forest to collect flowers that has degraded him. Now this point here, these two verses is also another turning point where he's been saved from the greatest danger, that is death. So how he was awakened by the mercy and he expressed his gratitude and he was feeling joy by seeing the Vishnu Dutas. So we'll see this today. So till now, from initially, he was a qualified Brahmana. Again here, Sukadeva Goswami is calling him as Brahmana, Dvija. Previously, he was a Brahmana, but he lost all the Brahmanical qualities by associating with the prostitute. And then he fell into degradation due to bad association of her. And then he led a very sinful life for decades. Almost, I think he was 88 or 80 years plus, when Yamadutas came. So some 6 decades he was like that. So at the death, Yamadutas came. So that time he had accidentally he has unintended dial, wrong dial, not wrong dial, maybe right dial, but wrong intention, unintended dial that connected to the lifeline that Lord sent Vishnu Dutas. Lord Narayana sent with Vishnu Dutas, and the Vishnu Dutas arrived. They are like a rescue team. Whenever there is calamity happens, the rescue teams come to rescue the people who are suffering. So like that, the Vishnu Dutas have arrived. And then there was a debate between the law of justice, the Department of Law of Justice, and Department of Law of Mercy, the Vishnu Dutas and Yamadutas. And that turned into be a Bhagavatam discussion. So that also purified Ajamila by hearing to these two parties discussing on dharma. And then at the end, finally, Yamadutas were defeated by Vishnu Dutas' strong presentation. And then now the real miracle which is happening in this verse is that he was not just externally rescued, but it is causing him his internal transformation. That's why he's called also here Anagaha. So the liberation is not something which is external. Only the troubles or the danger is removed. That is not the liberation. But when the consciousness changes, that is real liberation. So in this verse, Dvija Pashad Vinir Mukto. Dvija is again he is addressed as Dvija Brahmana because previously he was sinful. He became contaminated in the association of prostitute and he lost all Brahmanical qualities. Now again Sukadeva Goswami is calling him Dvija because in this process of hearing these two personalities, seeing the Vishnu Dutas, hearing Bhagavatam from them, he changed his consciousness. He got purified of all the sinful activities just by, of course, calling the name of Narayana once. He got purified everything, and then he regained his original status as Brahmana. So that's why he's addressing him as Dvija. So why? Because Vinirmukta Pashad. So Pasha means the noose, rope, Yamaduta's ropes. Vinirmukta means he is released from the nose, the ropes of Yamadutas. And then Gatabih Prakritim Gataha. Gatabihi is fear. So he is freed from fear. So why fear comes? Because he was identified with the body. He was identifying with the body. So that's why the fear came. It said, Bayam Vitya Viniveshet Syat. Bhagavatam 11th canto says, Bayam Vitya Viniveshet Syat. That means fear arises when we are separated from. I'll just show the verse. 11 to 37. Very nice verse. It says, Bayam Ditya Viniveshayat Syad, Ishad Apetya Viparyayo Smritihi. So, why one becomes fearful in his life, why fear haunts him, is because Ishad Apetyasya. So, he turns away from Isha, the Supreme Lord. He says, Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body, misidentification, and absorption in the external illusion energy of the Lord, and especially when the living entity stunts away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as the servant of the Lord. So that's why all the problems comes. Ajamila also is forgot his identity as the servant of the Lord, and he has given up the worship of the Lord, and because of that he engaged in all the sinful activities, and that in turn caused him fear, and especially because of that he has to do all those activities till now we have studied, all the robbery, everything, and because of those activities, so it created a fear in him, and especially when he saw the Yamadutas, it created a terrible, fear in him. Just a minute, I'll go back. Yes. Gatabihi prakritim gataha. Then after that, he came to his senses. Prakritim gatha. So he came to his own original senses. That means he's he is understanding what is happening. Vavande Shirasa Vishnu. So then also he is offering obeisances to who Kinkaravan, those servants of the Lord Vishnu, Vishnu Dutas, and he is feeling Darsanotsava. By seeing the Vishnu Dutas, his happiness, joy is coming. They said that whenever we see Vaishnava, we should feel joyful. Even if we are not showing any happiness when we see a Vaishnava, also it becomes a aparad. So he is feeling very happy by seeing the Vishnu Dutas. He is pleased by seeing them. Darsana Utsava. Utsava means a festival. When we see something, some great, where those who are very dear to us, who are like when we see our spiritual master, we become very happy. When we see a Vaishnava, we become very happy. Like that, Ajamila is saying that when we see that, he is becoming very happy. So Prabhupada is talking in this verse, what in the purport, how Vaishnava is, what a Vaishnava does, what is their duty, what is their job description, what they are supposed to do. Vaishnavas are also Vishnu Dutas. All the devotees are also Vishnu Dutas. Why? Because they carry out the orders of Lord, orders of Krishna. That means they execute the orders of the Lord, or they take the responsibility of the Lord. They do the work of the Lord. That is, what is the work of the Lord is? He wants to rescue, he wants to reclaim all the souls who are in the material world. That's why Vaishnavas, they travel far and wide and preach and bring all those people, just like he said here, Prakritim Gataha, making them come to their senses, that shaking them up from their fear, uh, um, fear addicted life. So shaking their material shelters. Devotees, when they go, they shake the material shelters, because that material shelter is not going to help any kind of, like he also had so many children, wife. Ajamila had, sorry, Gajendra had, he was a powerful king of the whole forest. Even the lions would put their tail below their feet and then run away when Gajendra comes. But his material shelter, that is his proud and material strength, also was challenged. Crisis came when crocodile caught him. So devotees' life is shaking the material shelters of the conditioned jivas, so that they can take shelter of the Supreme Lord, who is the cooling shelter, Lord's lotus feet. Lord is very eager for all the conditioned souls rotting in the material world to surrender to him and be saved from the material pangs in this life and punishment in the hellish conditions after death. So why devotees want to save the conditioned souls? Prabhupada is very nicely mentioning here, because they are struggling in this world. They are thinking very happy, but actually they are rotting. Just like externally, apple sometimes looks very nice. After 10 days, also it will be very shining. But when we cut, it is rotting inside. Like the external situations may be very with beauty, money, wealth, all the aishwaryas we may have, but internally, because we are turned away, bahirmukha, from Krishna, and we are attached to the material, the facilities or happiness, we are actually jivas rotting in from inside. So that's why the Vaishnavas can see what is inside also. How a person externally may be very opulent, very rich, very beautiful, very powerful, very knowledge materially, but inside he is rotting. That Vaishnava can see that internally he is struggling, internally he is suffering. The external success is not the real success. So that's why when Vaishnava sees, he sees internally what is there in the heart. So that's why they go and to rescue those all of us. They uh, shake up our material shelters and then show the real shelter, that is Lord's lotus feet. So that's why Vaishnava therefore tries to bring the conditioned souls to their senses. So what is our real sense? Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa. We are eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. Krishna is the only master and rest everybody servant. And that the jivas have forgotten. So that is what is Vaishnavas will try to make them realize. That is bringing them to senses. Otherwise, we are in the other sense, that is in the material world, as the scriptures tell. We put so many hats of thinking I am the master because I have money, I have power, I have beauty, I have knowledge, whatever, XXX. So all those material shelters will be destroyed and they will come to senses by the association of devotees. Those who are fortunate, like Ajamila, are saved by the Vishnu Dutas. We are also very fortunate because somehow devotees came into our life. They could see that we are suffering and they are rescuing us still. Our Vaishnavas, and thus they return back home, back to Godhead. So it's very interesting purport, because in general that fear, gatabihi, gatabihi means is gone, bihi means fear. The fear is very much in the right now at present also in the world. There is a lot of fear of job insecurity because of whatever AI, some countries president creating so many situations of instability in the geopolitical situations. There is a fear always, anxiety is there. Or somebody has a health crisis, or we saw that during 4 or 5 years before, during COVID, there was a lot of health crisis. Fear was there. Even we are not able to go near to our dear ones also. So when COVID came, we are not able to, even family members also, they are not able to go close to them. And there is a relationship breakup fear, and ultimately the fear of death, which Ajamila had. And devotees, when they come, because the fear, all this materialistic life is taking us uh, to the path which is very dark. That verse, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, 20th verse. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kaviyo vidu sayeva sadhu sukrito mokshadaram avavato. And then one more verse, which is the verse which talks about. open the door. I think this only. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanaha kavayo vidhu sayeva sadhu sukruto mokshadwaram apavritam. We are attached to so many material things. Ajaram pasham, which is binding us. Pasham again here is the ropes. It is binding us. But same attachment when we turn that place in the devotees, that will open the door of liberation. Prasangam ajaram bhasham atmanaha kavayo viduhu sayeva sadhasu krito mokshadwaram apavritam. Mokshadwaram apavritam. The door for the liberation opens when we divert or place our attachment to the devotees. So here we see Ajamila. Also, he was having the fear of death here. Insecurity came. But when the devotees came, Vishnu Dutas, the fear was removed because they were about to take him. They put even the nose also around his neck, the Yamadutas. When the Vishnu Dutas came, they have removed externally. Bodily he was protected, but after that now the real thing is coming. And he came back to his senses because he could understand by their conversation and by the presence of Vishnu Dutas that what was he was doing till now, what was happening 60-70 years of his life, what did he do, everything just flashed back. Then he understood what was I and what I have become, what has brought me in my life. So he came to his senses. He understood this is I made of my life very mess. And so now he is understanding. So that's why he, with gratitude, Bhavande Shirasa Vishnu Kinkaram. So he offered his obeisances, bowed down to the servants of Kinkara Vishnu, bowed down to the servants of Lord Vishnu. So he did not first glorify them. He did not talk conversation, anything. So the first thing is he offered obeisances. Because first thing, how a devotion begins is by respecting devotees, honoring devotees. Bhagavata says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanena. So when we approach devotees and we offer obeisances, pranipata, with humbleness, so that has it has begun with that, and then he will see that how he will feel in the next verse also. It will be very elaborately described. Because by seeing him, he also become very happy. Darshanotsava. Because Darshana Utsava means festival. When we see Vaishnava, it is a festival. Why? Festival means what? Everything is joy. Everything there, what they speak, what they do, everything is blissful. Because when a devotee comes, what he or she will speak, they will speak about Krishna. They will give prasadam. So when a devotee comes, that's why we should feel very joyful because they are going to talk about Krishna. Just one time he pronounced Narayana, it saved him from such a life. When the devotees come and they keep talking about Krishna Katha, all our, one thing is the abhadras are going. Sunnata Sokata Krishna, Punyashavana Kirtana, Hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidunohati surutsatam. Just by hearing from devotees, all the anarthas are destroyed. Here also he chanted, of course, Narayana, and he also heard from Vishnu Dutas. He got freed from all the anarthas. So first thing is gratitude came out of his heart. He expressed his gratitude by offering obeisances to Vishnu Dutas. And then he want to speak also, that we'll see. Of course, in this verse, purport Prabhupada mentioned devotees are Vishnu Dutas, and what they do, surrender. So what are all the things we can do? As Prabhupada is saying that because we are also trying to become devotees and we are also considered as Vishnu Dutas, but we should be doing the duty of Vishnu Duta. What is that is No. Reaching out to the souls who have turned away from Krishna, who are entangled in the material life and getting almost every time fear in their life. They are fearful situation by Harinam Sankirtan. Can you imagine just one word pronouncing Narayana is saved his life? But when we are going out in Harinam Sankirtan and so many devotees chanting together, that has even greater power when the devotees congregationally chant the holy names. And it is said that when we chant and whichever the direction we raise our hands, people, any living entity in the direction, they are going to get benefited by our chanting. So by doing Harinam Sankirtans, no, we can do the Vishnu Duta work. Our Narada Muni keeps doing this everywhere, chanting Narayana's name. And then we can do book distribution. So many devotees, many of you also would have become devotees by reading Prabhupada's books. And we are becoming devotees also by continuously reading Prabhupada's books. And then there are many devotees who go out and preach in different venues, and their according to their capacity, 1-to-1 or big programs, whatever. And then many devotees who are serving in their temple also, who are worshipping the deities, nicely decorating, and Matajis who are doing garland services, very nice. By seeing the garland also, many people doesn't see such a wonderful garlands anywhere else. When they come to temple, ISKCON temple, they see the varieties of garland, different colors, and the dress, how the pujaris, matajis, prabhus are dressing the deities. So that is also preaching. People get attracted, and how devotees singing with from the core of their heart in devotion. The kirtan bhajan also will attract the people. The many people get attracted to the Govinda Madhipurusham song. And then devotees, how they deal when somebody comes to temple, how they speak to the new people, even that also affects them. They become very favorable. They feel that these are wonderful people. So that also is preaching. How you speak to them is also preaching. Preaching is not by only verbal, it is by action also, by our behavior also. Because why we have to do? Because Krishna is very eager to help or save, reclaim his part and parcels. And because Krishna is very eager, we also wanted to be part of Krishna's mission. So that will make us very dear to Krishna. The devotees becomes instrumental. We become instruments of compassion. Prabhupada said that we have to become instruments of compassion. Whose compassion? Guru's compassion and Lord's compassion. We don't have compassion. So that is that verse. Next verse. This interesting verse, more deep, this verse is. Tam vivaksham abhipretya mahapurusha kinkaraha sahasa pashyatastasya tatrantardire anagaha tatrantardire anagaha. So here also so the word that previously I think we used to papi. Previously he was used the name as a papi because he became sinful, but now because he is cleared of all the senses, he got purified, he is called anagaha. Of course, here it is addressing to Parishit Maharaj, but anagaha means one who is completely freed from all the reactions. Internal transformation happened. Tam vivakshum abhipretya. Him, Ajamila, desiring to speak. So he wanted to speak now. After seeing Vishnu Dutas, he felt very happy. In the previous verse, it is said, what is that word used? Darshana Utsava. So now, after seeing that, he wanted to speak now. Vivaksham Abhipretya Mahapurusha Kinkara. So you want to speak to the carriers of Lord Vishnu. Sahasa Pashitastasya. So what did they do? Suddenly they disappeared. Tatrantardhire anagaha. So they have disappeared. Why they have disappeared? Prabhupada says. Was sinless Maharaj Parikshit, the order carriers of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Vishnudutas saw that Ajamila was attempting to say something, and thus they suddenly disappeared from this presence. It is like, and we might have seen in movies when hero comes and saves somebody who is in trouble, heroine or some person, and then suddenly he comes and saves them from nowhere, and then he leaves that spot without speaking to the person who is saved. And then how, so when he was saved, he or she was saved, they feel so happy, they feel so grateful. But when they want to thank them, express gratitude to that person who saved that hero, when hero disappears, so how much they will feel, the person who is saved, rescued. So now Ajamila is, why did they leave? Prabhupada also explains this very nicely in this purport. The Shastras say, Papista ye durachara deva brahmana nindakaha apatya bhojanastesham akale maranam dhruvam. Papista ye durachara. The person who is papisti, papisti means who is very sinful, is whole life from morning to night, his only activities, only thought, only words, everything is sinful. His body, mind, words is fully Manasa, Kaya, Vacha is doing only sinful activities, papisti. Deva Brahmana Nindaka. So, and then what he does, because of papisti, so he criticizes or he offends or creates troubles to Devas and Brahmanas. Apatya Bhojanas Tesham. So he misbehaves and his habits are very unclean and he is against the God. Because of that, what is the result? Akale Maranam Dhruvam. So, and who eats everything and anything, untimely death is sure for them. Akale Maranam Dhruvam. So for him, a person who is very sinful, that means Akale Marana means, Kala Marana means the timely death. Akala Marana means untimely death, means his lifespan will be reduced, shortened. So in a person who is sinful, life, his whole life is leading very sinful, his lifespan will be reduced. And here, why Prabhupada is quoting is Ajamila, because so sinful, 60, 70 years he was engaged in all these things. Durachara, Deva Brahmana Nindaka, Apatya Bhojanas, he was eating whatever is mentioned here. He was very sinful, he was doing all the misdeeds, Durachara, killing, stealing, misbehaved and very unclean. He was living such a habit that he was eating food cooked by the prostitute and he was living very dirty life. So because of that sinful activities, his lifespan was shortened. Already he was 80. How much more is shortened? Maybe he was supposed to live 100 years. So he was shortened. In general, this is the case. If somebody is sinful, their lifespan will be shortened. Because every time we disrespect a Brahmana, Vaishnava, our lifespan will be reduced. And there are many details given when the lifespan will be reduced. So if somebody wants to live longer life, then they have to do exactly opposite of this. Respecting Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, eating the prasadam, honoring prasadam, and behave properly and keep oneself very clean habits. So because he was untimely death, he was supposed to die because of sinful activities. And by the presence of Kinkaraha, Vishnu Kinkaraha, when the devotees Vishnudutas came, and by their intervention, and also he chanted the holy name, uttered the holy name, and by hearing Bhagavatam from them also, he was cleared of all the sins, everything, past, present, future. So that's why, because his lifespan was reduced because of sinful activities, now the sinful activities are removed. So now, because of that, his life was extended. So now he is going to live more years to do tapasya. And then how devotees helped him to come to intense bhakti. So that will be we'll study now. It is said in Kali Yuga, one has a maximum lifespan of 100 years, but as people become degraded, the duration of their lives decreases because of degradation. Degradation means all those mentioned above. Because Ajamila was now free from all sinful reactions, his lifetime was extended, even though he was to die immediately. When the Vishnuduta saw Ajamila trying to say something to them, now this comes the very important aspect. They disappeared to give him a chance to glorify the Supreme Lord. So why did they leave him suddenly when he wanted about to speak? It is like when when some devotee is in difficulty, the caregiver or the counselor, he goes and he rectifies the situation. When he wants to say something to that mentor or counselor or guru, then that person leaves that place. What kind of feeling he will get? Why that person leaves? Because it is also a nice, interesting aspect here about how one gives caregiving or mentoring or guiding. So they did not stay there to make him dependent on him, on the Vishnu Dutas, emotionally, taking shelter emotionally, but they want him to become more deeper and connected to Krishna. So because they left, and his gratitude, intensity of longing has increased manifold. We'll see that. We'll read this purport and then discuss. Since all his sinful reactions had been vanquished, he is now prepared to glorify the Lord. Indeed, one cannot glorify the Lord unless one is completely free from sinful activities. Eshantam tagatam papam jananam punnikarmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridagata. So unless a person is freed from all sinful activities, he cannot glorify the Lord. The Vishnu Dutas made Ajamila aware of devotional service so that he might immediately become fit to return home back to God. To increase, so here comes the point, to increase his eagerness to glorify the Lord, they disappeared so that he would feel separation in their absence. In the mode of separation, the glorification of the Lord is very intense. So this is also our Gaudiya Vaishnava, the highest philosophy, the love in separation or service in separation, because the separation, the pralamba, increases the intensity of devotion for the Supreme Lord. So why? Because they left, because it is so that to increase his, when Krishna says, even the calamities also Krishna brings in devotee's life is to, of course, the pure devotee's life, when Krishna puts some calamities, that is to increase his that devotee's intensity, love for the Lord, that we have seen in the gopis also. In terms of separation, Lord immediately leaves them in middle of their the Leela, and their intensity increases like him. And in the absence, the love for that person increases, because that remembrance will become very, very deep, very strong intensity. Just like Arjuna, after he heard that Lord Krishna has went back to the spiritual world, that whole chapter is how much he is feeling. He is remembering all the qualities and activities which he has done with Krishna, and is remembering that that's making very deep closer to him. And we see also similar in Dhruva Maharaj also, when he was seeing after 6 months, Lord appeared in his heart. Suddenly, Lord disappeared. That intensity, it is mentioned there in fourth canto. That he is feeling suddenly was Lord disappeared. He felt so intense, and then of course Lord personally appeared to him outside the heart, same Supreme Lord, and then spoke to him. But that time the intensity was become too much. Similarly for Narada Muni also. When Lord appeared and then disappeared from him, he also felt that much intensity. So here why they left is because to increase his intensity love, and it's also a point for the mentors or the caregivers or the guide who are taking care of devotees, is to make the devotees their intensity, their connection to Krishna more stronger than not. Vishnu Duttas are not there to stay and then make them connection with them that no, they become great. Though they came and rescued, but the Vaishnava always think that how this soul can be very more connected deeply to Krishna, Guru and Krishna than myself. So that is the job of devotees, because eternally they are servants of the Lord. So they should be connected. So when we are giving guidance also for devotees, it is see that increase their intensity to Krishna, not to emotionally make them dependent on us. So we make them independent and dependent on Krishna. Independent means not very much emotionally attached to us, but attached to Krishna in the true sense. So that is this verse is speaking. And the calamities here are, what is this verse? The calamities in Ajamila life. In general, we don't want calamities, because calamities also will increase. When the two types of calamities come in one's life, it is because one is because of our activities, past sinful activities, we bring up the calamity in our life. Even that calamity also one can take advantage of to taking shelter. And another calamities which is orchestrated by Krishna puts. Just like because calamity increases dependence on Krishna, it increases one's longing for the Lord, longing for the shelter of the Lord. Just like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Artho, Artharthe, Jignashu. So all these four kinds of people, there's a calamity. The first one is Artho, he is calamity. Gajendra was life in calamity. If you see all Bhagavatam, all the personalities, everybody's life is calamity, including Parikshit Maharaj. Calamity came. Narada Muni, the 4th chapter, calamity came. And then Kunti, the 8th chapter, or before that, 7th chapter, Ashwatthama was punished because the calamity came in Draupadi's life. All the children were killed. And Parikshit Maharaj also was, the whom also Ashwatthama tried to kill him. And calamity came. How Uttara came for asking help of Krishna. And Draupadi's life calamity came in the Atsat Sabha. And then whole Bhagavatam, if you see, everybody's, Dhruva Maharaj's life is crisis. Prahlad Maharaj's crisis. For doing bhakti, his life was in crisis. The whole life, the great devotee's life, you see, in Prabhupada's life also there was a crisis. When his factory was taken away, so he said, Harisheta Danam Shanai. So when Krishna wants the devotees to become more serious, more intimate with him, then he takes away their material facilities. When Krishna takes away material facilities, brings calamities, these devotees, you see Bhagavatam, nobody has taken somebody else's shelter. Everybody has taken, despite their whatever intensity of calamity, whether it is short for a moment or for thousands of years, like Ajendra, they always took shelter of the Lord. Like Kunti Maharani is praying, Vipada Santuta Sattva Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. So she wants all calamities again to come, so that calamity we are able to remember. Now you are living, after everything is become, now when we made everybody enemies, all the kings, when you are living now, it is better that with enjoying the kingdom without you is no use. So better we have more calamities, not the kingdom, but because of that calamities, we are able to always remember you, think of you. Of course, we don't have to ask, but whatever calamity on its own coming because of our past bank account, so we should take shelter of the Lord, remember the Lord. Just like in Ajamila's case, in the so there was a dark phase in his life where he took shelter of the Lord when this Yamadutas came. Uh, when in our spiritual life also, initially everything will look very nice. Like when the Vishnu Dutas came, he was so feeling joy. And after that, they disappeared. He was feeling so, intensity increased. Where did they go? Why did they go? Disappear from his presence. So in our spiritual life, initially everything will be very, all the devotees will appear like a pure devotees. When we come to temple will be like a Vaikuntha. And prasadam, each and every, I remember when I began starting, when the initial days, even one, the grain particles also, rice also, we would not waste. Only the chilies or the masala pieces that we would throw. Like that, the consciousness was initially. And the devotees, you see, everybody is like a pure devotee. How they speak so nicely, everything. And the darshan classes, everything. It's like a 100% pure devotee syndrome. We see everything is pure. Devotee is pure, temple place pure, prasadam, everything is so amazing. Books. But chanting also, we feel the initially when we chanted, we feel like actually I'm became like no Haridas Thakur, like that. Pure chanting, I'm chanting, we feel like one mantra. But after some time, after 2-3 years, now we can understand sometimes it is gone down in maybe some of our life. We feel that when we see devotees, the first thing comes to us that what are the faults of that devotee? Forget about this pure devotee syndromes. Before we see the faults, we see his shortcomings, may not be false, but we may, in other words, we may see is just an ordinary person. We may lose that respect and that awe, that happiness when we see the devotees. And when we see prasadam also, we just see that it's okay, prasadam, but we don't have that consciousness as we had previously. And when we come to temple, so we become casual now. And especially when it comes to the devotees or the, of course, chanting, here we feel no taste. Initially, it is so much blissful, our chanting. Now we feel that there is no taste. And so much anarthas are coming, so many bad thoughts are coming. And my chanting has become distracted. So, what is this? Of course, this could be many reasons. It is because initially Krishna gave very nice inspiration to encourage us, to attract us. And then then after that initial phase, there is a phase where we feel everything is dark. We are not feeling any clue how to get out of this clutter which we have created. And that is the phase we have to be stable, steady. That is like, initially it is like a honeymoon phase. Honeymoon, everything will look very nice. Everything is very beautiful. So much joyful. Initial our bhakti. And then next stage is after 2-3 years, it is like a dark moon or no moon phase. So we see everything is dark. Our life is where we are heading, we don't know because of our whatever reason. And also that is not always we have done some mistake, but Krishna is making, just like here, Ajamila, after Vishnu has disappeared, he is feeling dark. What to do now? So that time has his intensity increased when he could not see the Vishnu Dutas, his intensity of bhakti increased towards the Lord. Similarly, when the dark phases of our life, when we increase our intensity of our spiritual practices in all the aspects, then we will be situated, because the sadhana bhakti regular is this space only. Maximum time is this sinusoidal wave. So we are going up and down. It's like dark, some no clue. So that time we become stable by association of devotees, especially here, because in Kali Yuga only by association of devotees, in that association also favorably, then we'll be able to come out of with the help of devotees from that situation. And then gradually by our pure sadhana, pure association, and pure services and pure motives, when we gradually come out of the dark phase again to the Purnami, moon, full moon phase, there our bhakti will become stable. That is Nishta stage. So right now the dark phase is Anartha Nivritti stage, which is coming on. Krishna also sometimes adding in devotee's life, to make us, to shake us from our attachment, material attachments, and to take shelter of Lord's lotus feet. So that's how. So that phase we should not see that Krishna has disappeared, just like Vishnudutta has disappeared. They know intentionally why they disappeared, because they saw that he wanted to glorify the Lord. They don't want to be stay there to make him emotionally attached to them. Imagine if Vishnudutta stood there, what would Ajamila did? He would have emotionally held on to them. Oh, you have saved me, thank you, all those things. But his intensity would have not been that much. So in our life also, when we are in the dark phase, so we should increase our intensity. When the anarthas are going on, struggling with us, we have to increase our intensity of practices, and that will help us to again be situated in our steady bhakti, which we have experienced in the initial stages. So that will come again. So that what is Ajamila is so Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning here, speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So how he has increased his intensity after the Vishnudutas disappeared, that helped him to enhance. So after that, of course, he went to, after they disappeared, Yamadutas also went, then he started his bhakti intensely. You can see after that phase, what did Ajamila do when that intensity or the dark phase, he took off his spiritual life. He did a lot of tapasya. He left home, he went to the, of course, I'm not telling we should leave the home. So he increased his austerities, he increased his sadhana. So by that, gradually he became liberated later. He went back to the God. So that is what is these two verses talking about, especially the Gatabihi. So these are the things in the 22nd verse talked about Gatabihi. Fear. Fear comes because of identification with the body and turning away. Identification with the body and the whatever is body related thing. So that's why one gets fear, because we have so many connections with the body, maybe the place, Griha, Sutta, Apta, Vitta, everything. And that is one cause. Another is Gatapi. One more is we are turning away from the Lord. So one who has turned away from the Lord, so then where will we go? When we turn away from the Lord, it said that Bahirmukha is the Maya. So Maya is all the material things. When we face to face Krishna, then there is no Maya. But when we turn away from Krishna, then Maya is ready to welcome us. Welcome. So, so this is the main reason in Ajamila's life, that he has turned away from Krishna, his spiritual practices. And also he identified, after that incident, he identified with his body so much that all 70 years, whatever he has done. So that caused him fear. And because now, after hearing chanting, his gatabihi, the fear has gone from his life, and he came to his senses, and then he offered his obeisances to the Lord. And the next verse talked about how his intensity was increased by Vishnu Dutas. Just like initially I was telling, Vaishnavas can see internally what is happening in the heart of a devotee, not externals. Externally we may be happy or sorrow, but internally what is there? The Vishnu Dutas, they don't have to ask him or speak him. So what he want to say, they could understand what he wanted to say, because the pure devotees can understand the heart of a jiva. So they understood that he is going to speak. Just like apple, I gave example. Internally, what is it's rotting or it is flourishing, a person can understand. who is expert knowing the apple by seeing it. So Vaishnavas, Vishnudutas, the devotees are expert in understanding the situation of the heart of the jivas, and accordingly they will guide. So just like when Narada Muni went to Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva was feeling despondent. By seeing only, he asked question, how are you doing everything? Because he understood there is a despondency in his heart without he speaking. So that is how a mentor or counselor, caregiver should increase their spiritual practices, such that by seeing the devotee only, we should be able to understand what is going on in their life without their telling, and then guide in such a way that their shelter in Krishna becomes very strong, not emotionally make a person attached to oneself. Hare Krishna. So I would like to pause here. Thank you very much. I think already went late, Proji. Till 8:10, Proji.
That's okay, Prabhu. No problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class, and you specifically very nicely explained about the transition point of Ajamila, and also how he moved forward from that to the next inflection point. So thank you, Prabhuji. I have a question, but the devotees may please ask any questions or clarifications, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for
Hare
the
Krishna.
wonderful lecture. It reminds me of the sloka. Krishna bhuli se jiva nadi bahirmukha ataheva maya diya samsara dukha.
Correct.
So nice of it.
Thank you.
Very nice class, Prabhu. Dandvat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have one question, Prabhuji.
Yes,
So
Prabhu.
you mentioned that in the beginning, like that all happened in my case as well. Like when we first come to Krishna consciousness, we see everything to be so wonderful, so nice, and we feel that we come to a completely different planet. But over a period of time, things changes again. We started finding faults. What is that? Actually triggering that transition, Prabhuji, from that place to finding fault. Is it because of becoming too casual, or what is that, Prabhuji?
Yeah, so that it is said, no, familiarity breeds contempt. So we take it because we don't understand the human form of life itself is so rare. And even within the human form of life, to come to the association of devotees, how much rare it is. So Bhagavatam, one verse says, Labdva, in the 11th canto, Labdva Sudarlabam Idam Bahusambhavam. I'll just share that. Labdva Sudarlam Idam Bahusambhavante. Manushya Martadam, sorry, Labdva Sudarlam Idam Bahusambhavante, Manushya Martadam, Anityam Apiha Dirha. So this human form of life is so rare that after many, many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life. Just a human form of life, although temporary, affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. So we forget this aspect that in human form of life we got, and more than that, in human form of life that we can get opportunity to perfection, and that we came to in the association of devotees, that too in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is the highest, the philosophy which we have got, the highest whatever you can get in this entire creation, is that we came in touch with Prabhupada's movement, and such a philosophy which is given by Prabhupada says that we are Rupanugas. Rupa Goswami is personally seeing this mission is happening. We came in touch with this mission and we become casual. So we think, okay, it is normal life, or we can say it is, we take it for granted. Devotees, we take it granted. Association, we take it granted. The temple, we take it granted. Even our japa. So that I see many devotees, of course, in our community, they chant very nicely. They put endeavor. I see in temple who come also on Sundays also devotees. But this is one reason that we become casual because of that, and especially our, in general, I am saying, when our perception towards devotees, especially. So when we hear or make any comments about devotees, make perceptions, so that will reduces the the ecstasies, devotional ecstasies, or the inspiration for bhakti, because these are all like putting a water in the fire. When fire is our bhakti, fire of bhakti is blazing, and we are adding water in that by all this. Especially it is about casual behavior towards, attitude towards Vaishnavas and our japa. These two will make us get into the dark regions of our heart. So that is my life I am seeing. So that's what makes me, when I become critical about devotees, when I take inattentive in my japa or casually chant, then I feel all those, the dark things appear in my heart. So that is one reason. In some devotees, Krishna is putting, like just like here, Vishnudutas left, Krishna is, even if it is our karma, Krishna is making things in such a way that we have the chance to take shelter of Krishna, because we already came in touch with the devotees. So even in that devotee's life, that calamity is coming, there's always an opportunity to turn towards Krishna. So every opportunity we can make it, whether it is because of our karma or Krishna is putting, we can take shelter. And that will happen only by association of strong devotees. We can turn that. Because that
Thanks,
desire.
The question, what was the question, Prabhu? Sorry.
Prabhuji's question was that in our life, we see that initially in our life, when we come to devotional service, bhakti, when come in touch with the devotees, we see everything very nice. The whole temple atmosphere looks like Vaikuntha. All devotees appear like, Vaikuntha Vasis, Vishnu Dutas.
Yes.
But after some time, so we feel that, it's not very interesting, or I don't know what is the word used, Prabhuji. Sankarshan Priya Prabhu.
We start finding fault.
Yeah, fault,
everywhere,
or we
and
feel not that much inspiration or enthusiasm in our devotional practices. Prabhuji is saying that we may start finding some limitations in devotees, some shortcomings or faults, whatever. So why is that happening? Prabhuji is asking question. So I was saying it is because of, one is because of our casual attitude towards the devotees, towards the association, towards our japa mainly. And also otherwise, Krishna is putting sometimes those situations in the heart, so that we become more serious, turn towards the Lord. So we have to see, in any condition, we have to take this opportunity to turn, because we don't have to wait. Only when Lord creates some trouble, we should take, because it is the same aspect. We have the opportunity, but that will come by strong association of devotees. So when we have very good association, that will affect us to seek shelter whenever the calamities or the difficulties coming. So that's why it is very important to have one superior, and also there is an equal devotee who is very sincere sadhaka practicing, and whom we can share our heart. He should know exactly, or he or she, whoever is, they should know our heart, whatever darkness is there, they should know clearly, and they should keep it confidentially, but they should help a person, his devotee friend, to come out of that situation. So you could able to, because many times we don't speak about our problems to our close friend who is very good devotee, who can help us. So we keep suffering within. So when we reveal also, then because revealing is not only is giving solution, he is going to pray for Krishna, pray to Krishna. That mercy also extra. The Vaishnava's prayers will have extra boosters for us to come out of that situations also. Because Vaishnava's prayers are not just some occasional, some mechanical recitations, and Krishna hears the prayers. He may respond anytime, but he hears the prayers. Of course, sincere repentance also will help to come out of that. One thing we can do is we have to journal. Every day, if you are journaling what we did, that itself evaluation, if you do also, it will help us. So many devotees have told me that because they are writing journal, after 1 week, if they go back and see what was my thought and words and actions, and they are able to come to senses that, oh, I did this, it was wrong, I spoke like this, or I, whatever it did. So that also can help.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I don't know if I answered your question, Prabhuji, sorry.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was wonderful explanation, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If
Hare
there is time, I would like to add something, Prabhu. So similarly, I was also feeling like that. After hearing the philosophy, I came with great expectations into Krishna consciousness, and I was slowly feeling they are also behaving like in the material world, and I wanted to go away. So right in time, I came across one article, Prabhu. There they have written, see, devotees, practicing devotees and the non-devotees are all conditioned in this material life. At least the devotees are in the right path and they are definitely going to become pure one day. Whereas the non-devotees, they don't have that bhagya. So the devotees, different devotees may take different time frames to become pure. So you have to be tolerant and reduce your expectation. So that helped me a lot, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, I wanted to share this so that...
Yes, it's perfect, Mother. Thank you very much. Yeah, it is said, it's similar. Prabhupada says that everybody is admitted in the hospital. Everybody is, as long as he's taking treatment, that means as long as he's coming to association, he's chanting, whatever. So he is going to, depending on the disease of the person, he will be discharged from the hospital. So one will have some small disease, somebody will have 1 month, he has to be admitted, somebody has to be admitted 1 year, depends on. So we have to see, of course, that should be our perception when we see this one aspect of seeing devotees. They are also feeling, but we should not bring this in our superiors and gurus. If you see some fault, oh, they're also in some trouble and they're also struggling. So that is not good attitude. This we can see with our equals or younger ones. If there is some okay, they're also struggling. But the superiors, we should never see that. Because we don't know, we can't understand. Because by seeing externals, we may think it is fault, but we can't understand the devotees, why they are doing what they are doing. Unless we go and openly, genuinely, with open heart, ask, try to understand it. But it's a good understanding that we should see everybody is struggling because everybody is diseased to different levels and they are getting treatment in the hospital. One thing we should be happy is that they are admitted in the hospital, they are taking treatment. And we are also in their next bed. We are also taking treatment. So we also have the disease. So
Yes.
we should see. Yes.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam. I also had a similar question like Sankarshan Prabhu. And
Yes.
the answer you gave and Saraswati Mataji gave some point. This got clarified, Prabhu. Thank you very much for a wonderful lecture. And the question answer, Prabhu. Absolutely, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranams. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhu. I would like Saraswati Mataji to share that article which you were shared, right? That beautiful one. So she can share in the group. We also can go through it. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for your association and hope if you bless me and pray that I will also start taking seriously my sadhana, my japa and association with the devotees, the facility which I am getting in the temple. We become, because we are staying very, I see that devotees far who are staying away from temple, they come so eager and we are staying just 10 steps from temple. Sometimes we don't go and take many times darshan. Only 2-3 times we take darshan, hardly in a day. So if you pray and bless me, so I will also become a little bit serious, like all of you, wonderful Vaishnavas, enthusiastically serving in our temple. Hare Krishna.
Yesterday, Haridev Prabhu also was discussing Prabhu.
Yes.
I'm recollecting the sloka. In fact, the later part I said, he said, he didn't tell about the initial and later, but he was telling, sometimes when the philosophy, when you hear, sometimes we neglect the philosophy and that. But when you listen to the philosophy, when you understand, then Krishna himself will make this thing strong in him. He makes your belief strong in him. So that's how we can neglect. I think when we come to the temple, you see devotees, you see the association, and just ignore the things which is happening. Then you feel very happy. You never feel disappointed. People are like that. We listen to the story, Prabhu. Sometimes when you're walking, they say, hey, why you're walking? Sometimes you go onto the horse, they say, why you're going on the horse? There was one story of a father and child.
Correct.
Like that, people will criticize anyway. People will talk anyway. When you know that, when we understand, as you said rightly under Saraswati Mataji, different people will get cured at a different levels.
Yes. And we should also develop internally that attitude that whenever somebody is having difficulty, instead of seeing with the critical mentality or vision, we should feel concern or compassion for them, because if somebody is doing wrong or somebody is criticizing, we may not take their association. Somebody is criticizing, but they are suffering. Somebody is criticizing means they are degrading. So we should feel pity or compassion for them, and we should see that devotees as with compassion, may not criticize them, but may not associate with them, but we should pray to Krishna. Yeah. Krishna, please help that devotee.
Yeah.
Because the opportunity which they got in this life, they are losing it. They are not utilizing it properly. So we should develop that positive attitude. Then that critical mentality will not come in us. When we change our attitude towards those critical devotees or whatever people who are having difficulties, perception should be like we have to feel compassion for them. That's how Krishna says.
Change ourselves. No, we can't correct anybody. We have to change ourselves.
Yes.
Our attitude. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
I think.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We can end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam.
Thank you very much. Ganta Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhyo Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo.
Thank you, devotees. We'll end the session. We will meet tomorrow morning. Krishna.
Hare Krishna.